recycler. Interesting. An advanced time machine test. Don't mind me. Oh, actually. Let's see if this picks up any. What's up says, who am I? Hi, what's up? This would be cool if this light, but it's not strong enough to even register a charge. Who am I? How's it going? Anyway, this is the new solar panel. It's not a complete time machine lab. It's more of a. So one thing that this has helped me discover is that, Kev, how is the eighth dimension related to fusion? I'm interested. Ooh, what made you think about that, Kev? I mean, I know that's my hypothesis, but what specifically? You watched a video or something like that? Very fascinating. I wonder if that'd be crazy if we could reflect the light off the copper and it would somehow get it to solar, but that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. But let's see what kind of tests we can do, because this is a completely. Why were you in your car last night? Because I was waiting for somebody. I don't want to give you too many details, but I was about 40 minutes away from my house. I did 611 likes already. Thank you so much. Who am I? You've boosted the live. You've helped us stabilize in orbit. Hypothetically, in retrospect, what is the seventh dimension of a triangular velocity of vibranium? Oh, I wouldn't even know. Where's the expiration on what? Oh, cool. That's all right. I just saw you weren't in the normal lab area. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no specifically. It was funny, though. I can't wait to post that one, because some funny stuff happened during that live. People were acting wild downtown. This has some of the residuals from that live as well as previous lives. It's interesting. It's become very fall off. When do I think I'll have a final product? I'm shooting for October. I'm shooting hard for October. But we'll see. We shall see. Interesting data. Oh yeah. I want to learn like you. How do I make a hoverboard and get there, bro? See, the thing is, I already know you're faking, because it's not hard. No, I'm just joking. But what you have to ask yourself, really, is what do you want to get up to? Trust me, as soon as you start deciding to get up to some science, the science that's meant for you will come about. The issue is right now you're not even trying, right? I mean, truthfully. Let's see if we can get some testing. This is obviously not my usual testing apparatus, but I really want to start taking things to the next level. And using these time machines outside of, the regular state. What that area is actually the station where I usually film. This is the lab right here. See, that's the problem when you. Oh, but let me tell you what this has taught me about building a hoverboard. Oh yeah, building a hoverboard. Maybe add straps so the person doesn't fall off. Have you seen the THRAs? The Titan Hover Retractor Attachment? Come on, man. Check it out. It's better than straps to the feet, because it straps to your straps to your waist. See what kind of data we can encode here. Okay. We're already encoding crazy data just by setting this up. Just by having the solar panel, the battery bank. Why does that sound so weird, battery bank? Anyway, the battery bank and the time machine solar. We're actually, in this scenario, with this amount of See, that's the fact. This is a scenario where the GCPRs would be super critical. Oh, I also have the hover configuration of the time machine portals on. Just encoding everything I'm doing is getting boosted. That's why, partially why, I'm able to do this work. But you're home from the future. Great to have you back. Where do I store my data? In the cloud, truthfully. These days I try not to store anything because I have a bad track record with actually storing data. So I try to post everything that I do so that I can delete it off of my devices. Interesting. I'm telling you, the power bank allows for that rapid testing. Every time I've tested on the upgraded Time Machine Lab, I've done that rapid testing. Let's see if we can get a boost by adding another Time Machine Lab. The acrylic saying, Jackson, love you right back, Jackson. Let's see. Dual lab encoding. Really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with these time machines at this point. I'm tired of the same old. And I have here the time machine store. I guess I could back up a little bit so that everything can get in there. The time machine store, not only is it a wonderful platform, but it stores all manner of useful testing apparatus. Is that dangerous? Be safe? Oh, very safe. Kevin, sad. Hey, don't be sad, Kevin. Albert, when can it fly? So I'm not making a flying board, which is one distinction that I really try to push. You know, I think a hoverboard is different from a flying board. I think hovering is really not about floating at all. That's really my opinion. How's Team Jarheads doing? You have to ask Julie. I'm not really on Team Jarheads. I'm just, but I believe they've submitted new data, so I do need to post that. Add it to the 8 League. There's also another post from Team Far Dweller. By the way, I don't know if anyone sent me any videos, but we were supposed to increase the number of 8 League teams. So I need more videos to post. So if you want to join the 8 League, you can go through all the rigmarole, or you could just send me a video right here on TikTok. That's how Team Vortex did it. Vortex versus Far Dweller versus Jarheads right now is the competition. Do I skate? Very barely. But I mean, I've skated for 2 decades, but mostly for transportation. So I'm getting some interesting aspects of data from this test. One thing that it's making me think about is the sheer inconvenience of having to hold this thing. The time machine should simply float right where I need it. It is a time machine after all, though being a time machine doesn't necessarily make you a hover machine. But you know, with the new, I want this one thing that I'm really trying to get data on right now is what sort of encoding is now coming from the solar panel, which if you haven't seen, we've added the solar panel to the system. This was meant to be an attachment to the hoverboard. Eric, the time traveler, happy birthday. This was meant to be an attachment for the Time Machine Lab, but it is clearly too large. So really, it might end up being an attachment for the Time Machine store in some type of way. I mean, it could just sit flat on top of the store and add charging capabilities to it. Though the Clear series was never intended. Oh dang, that looks dope. Was never intended. Said the solar panel isn't doing anything without solar power. No, I mean, yes, in true functionality terms, that would be true. But I believe just with having it in the time machine area, temporally, we're encoding its timeline. How will this end up time traveling? Well, I mean, we're time traveling all the time. I think, so how does it boost time? I think of the boosters or the rockets when it comes to time travel. Stop using AI. You stop using AI. Anyway, the boosters and the rockets of time travel is anything that lowers entropy, right? Which is what the time machines are for, especially the hashtag. The hashtag is overlooked, you know. The hashtag is really, I think, the original time machine. One of the best time machines ever invented that kind of came with the internet. But the time machines, they lower entropy through their encoding and act as boosters. Now, the different materials that the time machines are made out of act as the steering wheel of the time machine, right? So which direction are we going in? With the solar series, we're going in the copper direction. With the clear series, and honestly with the, let me pull it out. With the clear series and the, I mean, right now I don't have, it doesn't matter. I'm encoding so much data. Exactly, Joe Richardson. I'm wearing the hover configuration. I don't know if you guys know what's going on right now, but let me actually give you some ideas. Oh, let me say this first. With the tree series and with the clear series, the second and first series of the time machine, they're both moving in roughly in the carbon direction, though the clear series takes a couple. Tree series is just the series of time machines that are made predominantly out of either paper-based materials or wood. Now the clear series is made out of predominantly polymers, plastics, and then of course the solar series, predominantly copper. Does it work? Oh yeah, it's working right now. It's working right now. Let me try the full test. Oh, I forgot to flip the camera. I've been doing that lately to get the correct orientation on the time machine, allowing it to encode correctly. We might have been reverse coding all of our tests up until now. That was to let you guys time travel a little bit. Is this satire? What is satire? What, I mean, I really don't even fully understand what satire is and how that would specifically be relevant, or why it would give anyone any peace. It's really interesting. That's one of the fascinating consequences of great data tests. Is that, you know, I think the barrier, funnily enough, earlier today I was wearing the centralization configuration, or the 7th dimensional configuration. Really interesting. Really interesting stuff here. Really, can you make clone machines? I don't know if cloning would be really hard, though. I think the portion of cloning that is pretty difficult is the concept of really replicating the person's soul or something like that. I mean, you can make people with identical genetic code, or relatively. I do think that the data in genetics is 7th dimensional, so at the very least, it might be 7 trillion dimensional, to be honest with you. How do you get your funding? Well, fortunately, built this straight from the ground up. This is gonna be a quick live though, you guys, because honestly, I'm super duper tired, but I could not skip a night. I'll never, well, I can't, Never say never, because I probably will skip the night, but let's see what kind of, we're not getting any data on the hoverboard. I'm surprised at the time machine that it's taking. So, I mean, we are getting data. We're encoding it statically, though I'd rather boost it. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see what we can do. Just kind of got an idea. Let's take a ubiquitous piece of copper wire. There. I'd say try using Hot Wheels motor. Hot Wheels motor? I might have to grab one of those. I didn't know Hot Wheels had motors. That'll be perfect for my next series of Time Machine after the Solar Series. Because that one's main feature is supposed to be motors. I can't tell if I just want it to be motors or if I want to do motors and lights. I have to go back to my, well, you guys aren't going to get to see this wonderful data I just got. Very interesting. The interaction of the hoverboard with the copper string is defying intuition. My intuition, anyway. Interesting. I liked it better when I was holding it in place, but I wanted to try to get a pure test. Let's hold that right there. Let me encode this data to the max. I don't want to miss any of it for the playback. Interesting. It's actually pretty fascinating. It's getting into some of the concepts of it that make me think, you know, what truly is the most fundamental aspect of the three-dimensional hover? Because a lot of what I've designed here, you know, right, with the quantum gates, the hover wrap, a lot of that is meant for macro interaction. You know, but what if the interaction is like that piece of copper wire? What if it's purely one-dimensional? Let's get a little bit more data. A lot of bit more data. I'm keeping the solar panel attached largely for tangential encoding concepts. It's a real trip for the video to be mirrored. Alright, let's see. Let's see what type of interactions we get. I really kind of want to go to a WNBA game. I'm watching one live right now. I'm just like, I'd love to be there. Wow. Oh yeah, someone said this is the furthest you've gotten. Truthfully, I mean, wow, wait a second. Something happens when I lean back. I think the data's able to reach. Scale, I'm starting to learn, and that's what I was going to say about using the time machine. So, this being too large for the lab has helped me kind of cross an epiphany, which is scale is fourth dimensional rotation. I have to study that a little bit more. Actually, someone said don't use AI, but we're gonna jump into it right now. I'm getting, let's see what AI says, some epiphanies that scale may be 4D rotation. Are there any theories that align? Wow, check this out. This is what AI says. Data says. We've overemphasized AI, to be honest with you. It says your epiphanies about scaling and 4D rotation match rigorous geometrical and physical frameworks. In 4D Euclidean space, rotations do not happen around a single fixed 1D axis like they do in 3D. Instead, they occur simultaneously across two orthogonal planes. When a 4D rotation projects down into our 3D perception, it manifests as a continuous scaling, morphing, or turning inside out. It's really hard for us to understand some of these concepts because our brains are just kind of so used to thinking about space as purely three-dimensional. What we have to realize is, first of all, our perspective is very unique. The fact that we have an internal, like we're inside of the 3D, right? And we have one perspective, right? And someone else has another perspective. They're all seeing things from different directions. But also, you know, being able to apprehend mentally other physical objects is fourth dimensional in its nature, right? Because everything isn't one continuous 3D, because that's what it would be if it was purely 3D. So you don't need rotation for the fourth dimension. No, I'm just saying that what we call rotation in the third dimension, Derek wants me to say Christ is king. I mean, does the Bible even say Christ is king? I know it says he's the Prince of Peace. But wouldn't God be the king? I don't know. But anyway, Jesus is king of my life. Anyway, am I late? I'm late, and you're here, so that's all that matters. Let's see. Let's get a little bit more data, because it seems like that data instantly added. What do I do with this solar panel while we're testing? I don't want to take it off because I want the data to continue to encode, so it's going to become the platform. Amen indeed. Wow. Very fascinating. You need your setup back? Oh, I have it. It's literally, basically right here. But I have to push the tests. It's not about doing the same thing over and over again, especially now that I have the hover configuration. Truthfully, I actually think that one of the reasons I'm not testing in the station anymore is that the hover configuration of the portal is deeply integrating the data from all of my tests into my more organic life, truthfully, taking me to the next level. It's rage bait. I don't know why you would be enraged. Wouldn't you just swipe? You don't have to be here. What are all the rings for? They're time machine rings. Time machine rings. Need more data in new places. Exactly. Can't. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the station. Actually, I had an idea to take the station outside and do a test in outdoors, but in the station simultaneously. I think that'll happen as well. And that's actually the purpose of the station. It's actually highly portable. I'll do some video on that for you guys to check out. But we need a bigger station. So the size bigger than the station, I call it one, you can attach multiple stations to each other, just like you can attach multiple labs. All of the time machines are modules and modular, so you can stack them. Really, you could make a gigantic. You could link up together, which is one thing I'm kind of thinking about. If you have extremely high definition funding for a certain building, you could have a whole wall made out of just time machine labs. And as they increase in functionality, that's actually an increasingly fascinating prospect. But yeah, the scale bigger than the time machine station is called the wall, or the time machine office. The station is the only time machine I think that doesn't have two names. Interesting. All right. Getting some data right now on the copper. What year are you trying to travel to? I mean, if we're thinking like that, which is a really weird way to think about time, to be honest, but it's not that weird, I suppose. It corresponds with calendars. But I would say that this is roughly macro time 2052, which you can test when you get to 2052, see what it looks like. I think it'll look something like this. Something like this. Or at least metaphorically. This is a good metaphorical representation. Very fascinating data. 2052 looks bad. Not worse than 2026, which is the most we can hope for. You have to realize the world is pretty big, right? So, it's pretty big. See, the first positive person to insult me. Because, even, let's say I did have schizophrenia, which I don't think most of you are equipped to diagnose that, but even if I did, wouldn't it be something to celebrate that I was so functional? But anyway, it was all right. What was all right? All right, let's do one more test. Let's do a couple more tests. Actually, the data is really starting to settle right now. We might get some really powerful tests here. Wow. Wow. And really, this testing is helping me take the hoverboard to another level, but of course it's going to happen. I'm literally wearing the hover configuration. Anyway, let me just get some exemplary data right now. Absolutely exemplary data. Okay, let me relax. So it made me think of a time machine configuration that we could get into. Let's go ahead and grab Time Machine Lab. Wow. A unique configuration using the time machines as a volumizer. An improvised volumizer. Wow. Absolute pure data. Absolute pure data. This is the best way to test. Apply my concept of E equals VD cubed to test it. It's really a volume energy equation. Shocking, the incredible data. Whoa. A rupture. A rupture. Shockingly amazing. Can you hello, what's up, Ava? How are you doing? Glad to see you back. Thank you guys so much for the 11K likes, by the way. I appreciate that. Part of the board got over-entangled. Alright. Let's bust out the time machine store. Let's take this to the next level. Where's the rest of the copper? Oh. The copper wire. There's something. We're about to crack something. I'm not sure what it is. Thank you so much, bro, for joining the fan steezer. Interesting. Wrap the copper wire around the solar battery pack. It's not a bad idea, though. I don't know exactly how I would do that. Got an idea. I'm going to create a hinge stopper. And a quasi-volumizer. I don't have anything to cut with. The good old teeth, perfectionist for the week. Let's go for it. I don't want you to miss out. I'll let you see. Oh, I made it too short. Mistakes are how you know you're on the right direction, on the right path. If you're not making any mistakes, you can guarantee that is the mistake. But you know what, bro had a good idea. I shouldn't completely not use it, because the hover heads are always onto something. So what I'm going to do is stick a piece of copper wire in with the battery just to encode that data and see if anything comes of it. I hate to ignore the ideas of the hover heads. Brilliant. Brilliant. Let's... yeah, that might be a little better. Slab. Just put it right under there. One thing about a time machine is it will change over time, always, because it's a time machine. It's interesting to me how sometimes humans can be so complacent with a very rudimentary access to data. Wow, this data is amazing. Kevin, glad to have you here. Are you writing a paper about this? Yeah, I do write papers, though I need to be doing it more often. Quadruple data right now. Sorry, I know. Sometimes people don't understand why I do those rapid fire tests, but do something a bunch of times, get great data. Very fascinating. Very fascinating. I'm almost thinking we can just study this surface for a second to see what sort of data. I mean, it's encoded with all sorts of data from previous tests. It'd be a shame to waste this data. See what we can extrapolate from it. One, it has one time machine repair on it. See that? Why I taped it back together. Actually, I could use another one. All ripped right there. One of my favorite things is to repair the time machines. How many times you can use something is fascinating. I'm just going to encode this data for a second. You know, I was thinking earlier, people were like, oh, why is your space, messed up a little bit? Because it's in use. It's been used multiple times because it's a time machine. What do you think of public education? I think it's fine. It's a little bit underfunded, but I mean, I don't know. You could say that it's overfunded to a degree. Not overfunded, but well-funded to a degree, but the fact that it even exists is amazing. I was thinking about, the look of the time machines, and I was like, it's very fascinating. If you look at Star Wars, for instance, right? It wasn't a bunch of shiny ships or anything like that. Everything was dusted, everything was rusted, but it was in use. The people were chilling. Why? Because they had amazing technology. Yes, the technology looked kind of crazy, but that's because it was doing great stuff. SML, thank you so much. Holy man, tire. But just this data is useful for us. Can I go back in time to 1890? Easy, man. All you need is some data from 1890. As long as you can acquire the data. There is some data. I mean, there's a good amount of data from 1890. And the only reason why that's necessary is because 1890, on a natural level, is really just not that different from right now. So you need that data to figure out what exactly you think is different from 1890 and now. Very fascinating. Incredibly fascinating data. 1990 data on this one. You think so? I could see that a little bit, 1990. Getting the full hover configuration on camera all at once super boosts it. So, why don't you go back to 2011 and buy BTC so you can have more funds for your projects? Ooh! That assumes that what the project is lacking is funds. So these little misconceptions that we have are a big part of what makes time travel so difficult and why we need time machines all the more. One thing I know for sure is the scale that I would receive from increased funds would not be a scale of science. It would be most likely simply a scale of a type of reiterization. So more products, maybe more manufacturing, but it wouldn't necessarily make the things that I'm doing better. There's no way for that to happen because the tests haven't happened in time yet until I make them happen. Neither past nor future. Some things have happened in the past and future, and you might be able to get some type of boost in those areas, but for things that haven't happened, there's no way to boost. Do the rings have purpose? Oh yeah, they encode data. That's kind of like saying, do fingers have purpose, really? If you think fingers have purpose, then the rings definitely have purpose. That was actually the first thing that the rings kind of highlighted to me, is how weird fingers are. Pretty weird. We just accept the fact that we have 10 fingers, 10 little squigglers on our hands. All right. Let's get some more solar series data here. Let's encode that relative to what we saw. See, that's one way the time machines work too. All right, your brain stored so much data, our brains stored so much data from that last time machine, that when we swap in a new time machine, it immediately correlates the data between the two, especially because of the hashtag time machine. So encode this. course, since it's the copper series, highly reflective. Wow. Wow. That is amazing. Very fascinating. Very fascinating. Incredible encoding. Does the time machine work? Oh, it's working this right now. It's working right now. Fortunately, I have a configuration, so even just going like this, I'm flashing more time machines than I could possibly hold up in a single lab. Well, I guess I could stand back like this and hold a sheet of labs, but gold would be the very best, just expensive. Oh yeah, that's why I'm currently using a facsimile of gold to get some of the effects with a lot less of the cost. Nobody has ever seen anything like this before. It was discovered right here in America. Factual. Factual. But I mean, simply stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow should be a great day. Have some stuff, some things to finish. I have to finish the 7th dimensional boards, as well as yet another time machine agency watch. I accidentally sent a watch to someone who was not supposed to get it, but that's good. More time machine watches in the universe. More time machine watches in the universe. Encode that data. Well, it does kind of say time machine. The A is not so super connected. Did you know who it went to? Oh yeah, of course I know who it went to, because they were supposed to get something. They just weren't supposed to get a time machine watch. But whatever. Super fascinating. All right, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, it was going to be a short test tonight, but don't worry. We'll be back tomorrow doing some exemplary testing. Let me see what you guys are talking about though. What are those time machine rings? How do you go back in time? So, you have to first realize the true difference between this moment and that moment. That's the first step to time travel between two moments, is to truly understand what the difference between those two moments are. In terms of data, and I mean, these two things are the same, the data and atoms. But once you get that, it's really not that difficult to do any sort of time travel. Though there's many parts of us as human beings that are hardwired into natural time, so it's a lot more difficult than you would think to time travel. One of the best things we have going for us as human beings is that we use so much of the same products as everybody else. Most likely, all of the products you use today are used by a cool million other people. And so you get those natural iterations, times that it's been done. But once you start getting into the realm of your own products, your own creations, you start to realize the true scale of time. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I don't care if you discovered hyper. No, I have not. Have you ever traveled back in time? Yeah, what year was it? Again, to travel a year back in time would be equivalent, in my estimate, to traveling from here to Mars, right? So it's not as easy as you might think to travel in time. Though, I mean, it is impressive because we're moving through time naturally, so. But, you know, if you're moving at 70,000 meters per second and you throw on a booster that helps you move, 5 meters per hour in the opposite direction, you've really just slowed down a little bit. And that's the extent to which humans can naturally travel through time. You can't really compete with the speed and the flow of time. It's just, but you can make little changes, and that's what you have to focus on. I'll be right back though. We're gonna get some beverage encoding. Beverages are pretty amazing. Okay, think about this. Think about what we're dealing with this. Number one, a bevy of information, scientific data. But this is an aluminum container. We're casually using what was once considered a super duper valuable element just to contain 0 calories. Yeah, I got to right now, you know what I'm saying? Just to contain this beverage, but also, look at that, refresh with recycling, which, the 18th dimension, but also, in my hypothesis, the liquid in this container has been transported to me via the equivalent technology of aluminum. Is cheap now, but when it was first invented, it was extremely valuable. It was considered a precious metal. It's because it used to be very difficult to make, but we've perfected the process. But anyway, it is the liquid inside. Now, how do I know it's been teleported to me? You have to truly, 13th dimensional, truly think about how impossible it is for the exact formulation, Daniel, glad to see you, that you desire to be within arm's reach of you. So many things have gone wrong, and I don't know if you know, but it took a long time for us to get here as a planet. Mostly as a country, because other countries do different things. If you go to Nigeria to this day, even if you open up a Fanta, you don't know if you're drinking a Fanta. That's how tenuous the 13th dimension is, and how easy it is to go from teleportation to mere transportation. And not even just transportation, but transportation is enough. Yeah, because truthfully, it doesn't have to be the liquid that's inside, but you think about all the different details that go into getting this actual liquid to where you want it. I don't even know what's in it. I don't. I could read it, and get a vague, though relatively succinct description of what's inside of it. But I don't even know what it is. It takes all of this communication, the coloring, the name of it, the Time Machine branding, Mountain Dew, which tells me certain facts of it, the concept of the recycling, the aluminum container, the calories, the ingredients, ingredients, whatever that little middle section is. There's a phone number on here. Barcode, all of those things take are really, I think, an abstract, deconstructed ingredient list to the 13th dimension. It's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Do you think gold is going to be invaluable in a few years? It's a good question. I mean, maybe. And I say maybe because it doesn't. One massive gold-specific technological advancement could instantly do it. Let's say we needed gold. I mean, we already need gold for a lot of things, but it's unlikely because as unique as gold is, there's always going to be multiple different ways to do different things. So if it gets too expensive, cream soda, Mountain Dew, I've never seen before. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I actually even think my possession of this is due to the time machine. That's why I wanted to encode it. I really need to not drink it though, because I'm going to be honest. I've been drinking too many recently. You got to take these things with moderation. 1 every 2 days, max. So yeah, there'll be multiple ways to do lots of different things. But yeah, it's not even just, it's amazing. I love cream soda. A lot of people don't like cream soda. But I like cream soda and I like the Mountain Dew thing. Do you believe zero sugar drinks are part of the 25th dimension? I like that. I like that. I'm gonna keep that in my. I'm gonna keep pondering on that. You might be, Daniel. You might be onto something, young man. Wow. You might be onto something. Now, if you want to hear my reasoning, because I don't just agree with people. I really don't. What I'm thinking, why I like it, is, sugar is predominantly, it's a chemical, but it's also predominantly an energy source. Energy, I relate to the 5th dimension. Now, what is 25? It's 5 times 5. Now, why that's even more interesting is because multiplication, in my hypothesis, and just in general, Liam, long time, my guy, long time. Glad to have you back. I'm not even joking with you at all. About 17 minutes ago, I was thinking about you in the live. I was like, oh, I wonder where Liam's at. I was thinking a bunch of stuff. It's weird how human brains work, but glad to see you back, my guy. But multiplication is akin to rotation, right? 0 is a function of the circle dimension. What is a circle? A circle dimension is going to cause rotation. So 5 times 5. 0 calorie, 0 sugar. Very interesting. It's almost like hover, but it's like Someone said multiplication is akin to rotation. Ask your math teacher. Well, I don't know. Depends on who your math teacher is. Can you please explain the hoverboard really quick? It's just a board that slips and slides over stuff. Yeah, it's like we're drinking nothing. That's the fascinating part, though. I think people constantly assume that 0 means nothing, but it doesn't. 0 is a quantity in in my hypothesis, that is. So it's not like you're drinking nothing. It's like you're drinking itself. It actually almost levels it up. You're drinking. If zero is something, how can it be nothing? Nothing is nothing. I don't think there is such a thing as nothing. Which would make sense because it's nothing. So nothing is nothing. Because if you think about it, when you're doing nothing, you're always doing something. Yeah, you can't do nothing. You cannot do nothing. There's no way. Zero is not nothing. It's zero, which is not nothing. It's a circle. It's letting you know that you've reached the destination. You don't need to go any further, right? I don't need any more sugar. That's not what we're here for. So the sugar has been zeroed because I have the right amount of sugar already. It's not that I am drinking nothing. I'm drinking. It's even funny to say zero sugar, right? They could equally put on here zero peppermint. They could say there's zero beef ribs, right? Anyway. I took that concept as far as I could take it. Sugar bowls, I think. What does that mean? If the 10th dimension and 7th dimension combined, what would happen? You'd have the 17th dimension. Working on a machine that warms and crisps bread. Early prototypes promising. What should I call it? Why does it only warm bread? But, I mean, you call it a bread warmer, I suppose, or a toaster. You just call it a quantum toaster. That way people know. It's not the regular toaster. It's a quantum toaster. Might as well throw a quantum in there. For I swear I do not want no beef ribs as my drink. Well, you're in luck. I can sell you a Pepsi Zero Ribs. It would just be a regular Pepsi because it has enough ribs. You think if you mix two dimensions for teleportation and add and mix a third, it could duplicate? Yeah, I guess so. Ultrasonic toaster, I like that. Especially if it uses anything ultrasonic. What happens if the third dimension collides with the 67th dimension? 70th dimension. Alright, you guys, that's it for me though tonight. I appreciate you guys so much. It's been an absolute blast. Where my acquire wares to obtain plenties of uranium. Russia, probably. A lot of data on here, man. Oh, thank you so much. Is your headphone connected to the 13th dimension? Like the soda? No. This right here is connected to the 20th dimension. It's really a hoversuit seed. I've gotten into the seed thing ever since the Tesseract seed, which there's so much to do. Bro, genuinely, what are you doing? Just a little bit of innovation, my friend. Lots of data explained today. Really, there was actually. Anytime I sit down, I'm able to really get into the explaining, Jamal. And so, even though we were also doing some pretty intense, although the potency of the testing is spread out over the entropy of my natural environment, which is why. So entropy isn't just destruction, in my opinion. I think you can increase entropy simply through incongruity, right? So having things that are not related to each other in the same context, which isn't necessarily bad, though. It gives a chance for resilience of data. Anyway, if you define dimensions as countries, which dimension would Russia be? I have no idea. That's super crazy. if I had to guess off the top of my head, just making something up randomly, 81, 82, somewhere in there. How'd you figure out all these discoveries one step at a time, one book at a time, one podcast at a time? What is your goal? Hoverboard, amongst other scientific things, as well as my own personal business goals, which I have plenty of those as well. And yeah, enjoy life. Hey, can I ask what all the skateboard stuff for? I'm new to your videos. I'm attempting to make a revolutionary conceptual hoverboard. Alright guys, that's it for tonight. Let's have a great weekend. Keep rocking. For some of you, if you're in other countries, it's already Saturday. Or if you're on the East Coast, it's already Saturday. Everyone on the West Coast, hope you're enjoying Friday. Everyone in Texas, hopefully in Central Mountain Zone, hope you guys are still enjoying Friday. Stay up-o, please. I'll be back tomorrow. Do some testing. Do some testing so that when we come back, the hoverheads have more to share. Get Zendy. No. I'm out of here. What if there is beef ribs in the soda, but the 34th dimension is displaying the beef ribs as cream soda? I mean, where does cream come from? You don't want beef ribs in your stuff, but I mean, where does cream come from? Baby. What if all is atoms? Most of stuff is atoms, I suppose. It comes from cows. Cream comes from cows, just like beef ribs. So cream is a cow. I mean, it's cow matter. It really just is. Define atom. Ooh, that's really interesting. Because I sort of think the atom isn't necessarily its components, but the localization of the force which creates the atom. Alright, love you guys. I gotta go. Stay blessed, stay kind, stay awesome, stay testing, because we have a lot to do tomorrow. A lot of testing to do tomorrow. The data tonight is groundbreaking. Absolutely groundbreaking. Markel, we'll be back tomorrow. Matukas Hover Gang, heck yeah. Broson, you trying to go forward or backward in time? I mean, that's like saying, are you trying to go forward and backward in your house? It's like, well, I'll probably do a good amount of all of it, you know. Amen, amen, Pelagius. Some deep stuff. Alright, hoverheads. Stay encoding. Stay awesome. Diet's nuts. What diet is nuts? We're going forward and backward. Yeah, just like, I mean, if you're moving around, you anyway, alright, you guys. Love you. Stay blessed. Hoverheads out. My end goal, hoverboard, lots of other cool stuff. Hoverheads, I know what you guys are trying to do. It's not gonna work. Hey, get out of here. Hoverheads